you tired of letting excuses, fear, and self-doubt keep you from moving forward with passion and purpose? Join me, Lisa Malcolm, as I connect you to the unstoppables, the go-getters, the change makers, and the ones who took a chance on living their best life by doing what they love. It's time for a kick in the yes. Welcome to Kick in the Yes podcast. I'm so happy you're here. Be sure to hit the subscribe button so you can get the latest episodes as they're released. Now let's get started. Did you ever wonder if it's possible to follow your passion, do what you love, be happy, and make money at the same time? You know, they keep talking about living your best life by following your passion, not the money. But believe it or not, it is. And today, I'd like to introduce you to someone very special, Sue Cooper. She's known as the Millionaire in Flip-Flops. She's an entrepreneur, author, mindset coach, and business consultant. In 1997, Sue quit her corporate job to follow her dream of living on an island. She wanted to open a business where she could work outside and work with her friends. Sue's always believed that if what you want doesn't exist, then go create it. Don't settle for what's out there. And my friends, she did just that. She made her dream a reality, and 20 years later, she's running a successful multi-million-dollar business in paradise. Sometimes I refer to Sue as a superhero or an action hero because she's all talk and all action. And she continues to thrive each day. I'm not even sure if no's in her vocabulary. She kicks it in the S 365. So without further ado, I would love to welcome Sue Cooper to the show. I am thrilled to have you here. And let's start by just sharing your story of how you became the Millionaire in Flip-Flops.
Thank you so much for having me on. This is fantastic. About 22 years ago, I was working corporate back in Connecticut for an international footwear company, and I really enjoyed the work. I was learning a lot. I didn't necessarily like the corporate way of doing things. I didn't like how some people in management treated others. There were some things I didn't like. I did love business as a whole. And I actually won Executive of the Year for my company, voted on by my peers. I was at a high point in my career. And the next morning, after we were all celebrating at the conference, I woke up in the morning and I was absolutely miserable. And the reason being is that although work was great, the rest of my life was suffering. My relationships, my health. I was, in my 20s and I still wanted to be playing on the weekends. I played soccer for the club team and I wanted it all. And at that point, I realized I can have it all. And so I went in on Monday and I quit my job. I've always wanted to live on an island. And even when I traveled for corporate and I would get magazines at the airport, I would always grab the magazines with like the top 10 beaches and, islands here. I just love the thought of living on an island. But I also wanted to, I love business. So I didn't want to drop out of the corporate world. I wanted to kind of recreate I wanted to do things the way I thought they should be done. I learned a lot in corporate of how not to do things and also how to do things. I was at that point where I could take it and run with it. Did I know how to start my own business? Absolutely not. And quite honestly, Google started the same year that I moved here. So I was starting my business when Google in 1998 was starting. So I didn't have access at my fingertips on how to run a business or how to find customers, all the things that we can find at our fingertips today. I joke that, when people tell me something, I don't know how to do that. I'm like, Google it, and it's becoming a kind of a joke with me and my friends, but it's simple now. You can really do anything.
Your dad was a big influence in your life, your mentor. And I remember the story that you told me of how you were running with him one day and you shared with him your Millionaire in Flip-Flops book. So let's talk about that and some similarities, how things maybe haven't changed a bit.
They really haven't. My dad worked 30 years for IBM, and he was the youngest director worldwide for IBM at the age of 34. He went on to write the leadership manual for IBM in the 80s. When I gave him my business book to read through, when I was just drafting it out, he said it's really interesting because things haven't changed. Like, he wrote the leadership manual from a male's point of view in the 80s for a big corporation. And here was my book from a female's point of view for small business to medium business. A lot of it hasn't changed, and it comes down to you and the people in your life. You can build great businesses and a great life just having great people.
You've been very busy. You've written a few books now, Millionaire and Flip-Flops, and then the second edition was released last year. And you've also come out with Millionaire and Flip-Flops Take Action Business Workbook. And we're not done yet. As I said, Sue's been very busy. At the end of October, you're going to release your new book, The Lazy Dog Way, Building a Business, Brand, and Life. Tell us, what can we expect from this new book?
Well, I'm really excited about this new book because when I first decided 10 years ago that I wanted to write a book, I wanted it to be a business book. And I had a bunch of business stories and personal life stories, and I had given a copy out to some of my friends just to get their feedback. And I noticed that they all had little smiley faces and hearts and comments around the personal stories and not the business. So I thought, well, you know what? Not everybody wants to read a business book. So I decided to separate them out into two stories. And the first book was the lifestyle edition, and now this is business. And what's ironic, I mean, it really is that it is a business book, but it really is just a life book. And everything that I refer to from a business point of view in the book can also be related to your personal life. And it's and that's why I say building business, brand, and life, because it should all be one. You know, it's not like, you know, this is the business Sue and this is the play Sue. It's all one. When I decided to move to Key West, it was about living on an island, opening my own business, and, you know, I wanted a dog and lots of other things. You know, work with my friends, work outside. I had what I call a personal culture. Like, I didn't have a company at the time, but I knew who Sue was. I knew what I wanted. I knew what I didn't want. I think of it more from an entrepreneurial mindset where my life is more about what I get to do every day. You know, for me, success is what is it that I get to do every day. For me, happiness is what I get to do every day. It's not about the end result. It's the journey, not the destination. It's an overused saying, but it's so true.
Let's talk about self-care and the importance of putting you first. I know that is something you talk about often, and really how taking care of you first can bring the best version of you out.
My program, You First, you know, if I was really only going to share one piece of information and say this is the one thing you need to do to live a happy and successful life, I would say it's to put you first. So, you know, what do you do in those first 2 hours of every day? Do you get up, roll out of bed, take a shower, grab a coffee, and head out the door and run right into work? Because if you do, I can guarantee you, you're not bringing the A+ version of yourself to work, to your relationships, and to everything that you do that day. So if we took the approach of, hey, you know what, I'm going to bring the best version of myself. When I go into work, my staff is getting the best of Sue Cooper. My customers are getting the best of Sue Cooper. And so how do you do that? Find what works for you in the morning. Overall, the number one thing I think is some sort of exercise, because everything we do requires energy, and you're going to have more of it if you exercise. So bottom line, that's a great place to start. Meditation is huge. Visualization, hydrating, getting proper sleep, and then being careful of what we feed our minds. I like to think that we're working out our minds just like we're working out our bodies, and put the same focus on the mental work, because that's where a lot of the barriers are for us. We tend to be our own worst enemy.
I agree. We can be our own worst enemies, talking ourselves out of so many things that we want to do or should do, which leads me into this saying that I've heard from you time and time again: kick the shit out of you. So let's talk about that.
You can always pay attention to how you speak to yourself during the day. And if you're like, oh God, I should have called home, you know, or I should have gone for a run this morning because I knew I was going to have a busy day, or, you know, should have bought that stock, whatever it is, you know, the shoulds that you're saying, you know, can write them down, and or just after time, you'll be aware of when you say I should. And that's a good opportunity for you to be like, yeah, actually I should go for a run. Like, I'm going to go now, you know? And so the kick the shit out of you, I absolutely love. I got that from Pat Croce. He's a fantastic role model in business and life. Kick the shit out of you is huge. It's something that everybody can do every day, pay attention to when you say it, and take action right there. I joke that my mom came up with the slogan, just do it, before Nike, because that was the philosophy my mom had when I was younger. It was like, just do it. We don't really even think about oh gosh, maybe who would want to listen to this, or who would want to read my book, or that's not an option, just do it. Because we're living this life for experiences, and the more experiences that we have, the more we grow, the more we learn, the more we can share, and it makes life more enjoyable. I'm a big fan of just go, just do it, like my mom said, and it doesn't matter if I'm good at it or if I'm not good at it. I just do it, and if I do it and I'm maybe not that good at it in the beginning, but I'm really passionate about it, I'm going to get good at it.
Now I know where you got your superpowers from. Your mom. That's why you are the action hero that I know so well. Great advice. Let's talk about taking action and that just do it attitude, because if we don't take action, then nothing is going to get done, is it?
In each of my books, I've always included action plans, because not only do I want to share my experiences through story, but I want to share with people what I've learned and then ask the questions that really help me move forward in my life. But, taking action is huge. I learned from Tony Robbins at a very early age. When I was in corporate and not happy and I was traveling, I came into the hotel room and I put on the TV just for background noise. I wanted to be home. I was missing a soccer game at home and I just wanted to be home. There was Tony Robbins on an infomercial, and he's like, "Are you happy in your life?" And so I answered the TV, no. I felt like he was talking to me. But anyway, back in the day, it was a 30-day cassette tapes. So I ordered it. It's a 1-800 number infomercial. It was waiting for me when I got home. I wasn't too happy. My relationship was really in the dumps, and everything wasn't going well except for work. And I realized that no one was going to come and take me by the hand and get me out of this situation. There's a great saying my friend Heather always says, some people tend to like to sit in their stinky diaper. And I don't. I have control of this situation. I took those 30-day tapes and I did them in 15. I don't want to just gloss over everything and say, yeah, I don't have any problems. I needed to tear through some layers and figure out why I was feeling what I was feeling so that I could move forward, because I didn't want to be in that place. And that's always been my motto, really, is, take things head on, and deal with them. Because if you're in a place that you don't want to be in, then get out of it. And you can, but you gotta do the work. And that's what my books are, especially the Take Action book, even the business book. They're going to ask you the tough questions, and you've got to decide whether you want to stay where you are, or you might have to make a lot of sacrifices to move forward to where you eventually want to be.
You're so spot on when you say we have to take action, because if we don't do anything, we're going to stay where we are.
You can make a lot of changes in your life and still have your job and have that security, but make some plans and bring in more things that you enjoy into life. I mean, you've got a lot of hours outside work.
I definitely agree. Bring in more things that make you happy. If those little changes will make a little bit of a difference to lead you to a happier lifestyle, then do it. It may not be during your work, but it may be the time that you're off work. The other thing I want to touch base on is changing your mindset. I know, Sue, you touched on this, but what we feed our mind in the morning to start our day and what we feed our mind when we go to bed makes a huge difference in how our day is going to be.
Your mind's like a muscle. I mean, you really just have to be continuous. So when thoughts came in, be aware of them and quickly change it. Because it's really easy to just sit and think about something negative for a while. Why would we ever want to do that? But it took a lot of time and a lot of repetition for it to get to that. And now it's really my natural state is to always see the positive. And so my staff says it's always sunny on my radar. It is, because I've got the wind in my hair, the sun in my face. I got great people around. I mean, the basics are what really make us happy.
So it comes back to, everybody defines success differently, but it all starts with you first. I want to get into just some quick questions. How does Sue Cooper define success?
It's in the everyday for me, bottom line. I've got big dreams and goals always. Again, I consider myself a true entrepreneur, and that even if I reach my goals, that's great and I'm going to enjoy it, but then there's always going to be more goals. It's like a never ending. It's just my lifestyle. For me to constantly be growing, and how can I do that? And I always like to keep my mind open to meeting new people. Saying yes is a great way to do that. It opens your life to a lot of great experiences, meeting new people, things that you maybe wouldn't have done. Success is what I get to do every day. If I stopped growing and learning, I think I'd really be bored.
What's something you failed at?
It depends how you define fail. For some people, you could say I fail every day because there's always something that I'm trying. Again, I do things whether I'm good at them or not. I just do them for the experience and for learning sake. But yeah, I mean, I've had some big failures, and I thought I wanted to franchise years ago, and I spent $25,000 on all the legal mumbo jumbo and getting it all done, and it just wasn't what I wanted to do. When it came down to the day in, day out, the people that were applying weren't the people that I wanted to be working with. I wanted to work with entrepreneurs, and these were people looking for turnkey businesses, and it just wasn't what I wanted to do, and I dropped it. And that was basically a $25,000 failure, but I can still look at it and be like, I'm glad I got that out of the way, and now I know I don't want to franchise. It's not ever hanging over my head every year like, oh, I should do that. I did it, and yeah, I don't want to do it.
I think saying no is really important too, and I know we've had this conversation before. People want to grow personally, but sometimes in business, saying no to growth helps you become more successful if you're not able to provide the same kind of service that you do in your existing business with a new business. So I think that's really important. Who inspires you and who do you follow online? You mentioned Tony Robbins, Sarah Blakely.
Sarah Blakely's great, and her husband Jesse Itzler. I was in a kind of an open group with Jesse called We Do Hard Stuff. It was just kind of like a workout group where, basically pushing your body to work out hard every day so that the every day became a lot easier. He ended up doing some coaching. And, if you want to be great at life, then get a life coach. If you want to be a great cook, then get learn from a chef. You want to be super fit, get a fitness coach. These are the greatest investments that we can give ourselves, to invest in ourselves. And I invested in working with Jesse as my life coach for a year, and it's gone on a little longer than that. And he's been amazing. He's a true inspiration. He's definitely my mentor. He's somewhere where I want to be, and he's a great coach also. My parents are honestly, from day one, they've been. I write at the beginning of every book, how important they are, how they really set the stage for me because they led by example. And there are a few words, but they showed me how to live life.
It looks like you're living your best life. Are you?
I am, and it's not easy every day. But, I even had some troubles getting here because, little hiccups in the day at work. Things happen, but ultimately, I love where I live. I love what I do, and I love the people that surrounded by. And ultimately, it can't get much better than that.
Before we go, any last words of wisdom or advice you'd like to share?
If I could just share, I always just like to say jump in and figure it out as you go. Yes is my favorite word. If you're stuck in a rut, don't know what you want to do, then just start saying yes to everything that comes your way. You're going to meet new people and have new experiences. It's saying yes has really been great for me in getting out of ruts and really growing my life. And then, again, even in business, just saying yes and having that more positive mindset. The attitude is seriously everything. And we have a choice, how we want to go through our day. And, I choose to be happy because the alternative sucks.
I love that. That's a perfect way to end it. The alternative sucks. Thank you so much for taking the time to sit with me and visit and share your story. And there's many more stories to come. I know with this new book coming out, we'll want to talk to you again. But in the meantime, how can people find out about Sue Cooper and the Millionaire in Flip-Flops?
Well, I have a blog at millionaireandflipflops.com. My business is at lazydog.com. But I enjoy Instagram. Instagram's always fun. It's easy to put up pictures. So if you want to reach out to me, I'd say DM me on Instagram.
What's your Instagram handle?
Lazy Dog Sue.
Cool. All right, friends, I'll make sure to have all Sue's information online at kickingtheyes.com. And before we leave, please do me one favor and hit that subscribe button. Thanks so much for listening. If you have an inspiring kick in the yes story, I want to hear from you. Send me an email at hello@kickintheyes.com and maybe I'll feature your story on the podcast. Till then, always remember, knock out the no and tune into success.